this is Vivian. Welcome to my channel again. So guys, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so that you can know when I upload more content. So tonight I'm uploading a video I did on Facebook about paradigms. So it talks about what a paradigm is and how you can use your ability to change your paradigms and what paradigms you need to change, what habits you need to change, and the programming of a paradigm and how it controls your life if you let it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you on the other side, and you can subscribe to the channel, and then I'll talk about some more things. Okay, all right, so enjoy the video and I'll see you on the other side. Bye. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I know you probably had your coffee, but I'm just having mine. Because I had a yoga session this morning. Oh my God. And you know, I am really proud of me. You remember I was telling you guys that some of the yoga moves I wasn't quite with because, you know, legs and stuff and trying to move that way was challenging. So this morning had the yoga and I actually did all the moves. I'm so happy. Yes. So because when I first started, I was saying, I don't know, that looks a little twisty there. But I am kind of sore already. So yoga looks easy because, it's very gentle movement, but it can do some stuff. So yeah. So anyway, yoga this morning, and it was pretty cool. I actually enjoyed it this morning. Well, mainly because now that I'm able to do more of the moves, because been practicing. Practice makes perfect, right? So if you keep doing it, no matter what it is you're doing, you'll be able to do it better and better and better. And so the yoga is getting better. And there are still some moves that are really, really challenging for me. But if I keep doing it, I'm going to do it. All right. So tomorrow, though, I'm walking. So, I'm stretching, then walking. But yeah, so tomorrow I'm walking, but today was yoga day. And it was pretty cool. Anyway, so today I'm talking about paradigms. What are paradigms, you ask? Well, paradigms are really a set of habits, mostly ingrained habits that we have that pretty much control our lives, pretty much control what we do and how we act and that sort of thing. So we talk a lot about paradigms in our coaching because they are a lot of the paradigms that we have were ingrained in us or taught to us as children. As we were growing up, a lot of the habits that we formed were because of what we were told to do as children, what we were taught in school, what we heard, what we saw, and all of that, all those types of things. The good news is paradigms, like anything else, can be changed. They can be switched around. So if you have, say you're trying to do something better with your life, but there were some messages that you received as a child growing up, or even in your adulthood, that um, are holding you back from doing whatever it is you want to do, maybe that you've made a decision to do, then you can change that paradigm by incorporating habits that are the opposite of what you grew up doing. Now, it will be hard. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy, because I still have paradigms that I'm fighting on a daily basis, because your paradigms will try to keep you where you are, because it's a comfort. It's in this is the importance of getting out of your comfort zone, because all the comfort zone does is keep you where, kind of stagnant in where you are, right? So the paradigm is what's keeping you there, because this is where it's comfortable. This is where it wants to be. So every time you try to improve yourself, that paradigm is going to come up. I mean, over and over and over again. And you're going to have to push it back over and over and over again. So we're studying, well, in the success puzzle, we're actually not in that chapter yet, but I read ahead. We're studying in the success puzzle. Part of the puzzle is the paradigms. Bob says when you understand how to build a paradigm that will lawfully guarantee the progressive realization of your worthy ideal. Remember, I talked about the worthy ideal the other day. And a paradigm to replace the one that presently controls your life. So there are good and bad paradigms. There are paradigms that enhance your life, and there are paradigms that try to hold you back. So you have to identify which one is which, right? And you'll know it. Like, for instance, for me, the biggest paradigm that really was holding me back was the one of making money. No, not working, because working was ingrained in me when from childhood. You work for what you want. You work for, what you need. I remember my mom used to say, I'll give you your needs. You have to work for your wants. So, my thing is, oh, okay, so I need to get a job. Now, mind you, I was a child. I couldn't really get a job, but hey, I delivered papers, I babysat, I did all these things for my wants. My mom took care of my needs. I had a roof over my head. I had food. All that kind of stuff. Those were needs. But I wanted to, go on or get toys or whatever it was that I wanted. I don't even remember what I wanted back then, but whatever those extras were outside of needs, that's what I worked for. I saved my little money, and I did these little jobs, and whatever those jobs were, I was going to do that, right? So that was ingrained in me, is that I had to work hard and save my money to get what I wanted. And of course, I'm not saying anything against religion. I'm just not saying that. But there are certain misinterpretations of the Bible that I had regarding being wealthy. I saw, being what I was taught, that being wealthy was a bad thing. Oh God, you can't be wealthy. You're not going to get into heaven if you're wealthy. And that was really, I didn't know it was so ingrained in me until I started studying this stuff and going, oh my God, this is why. So whenever I got to a certain pinnacle, a certain level of income, I think I started sabotaging myself. And that's a bad thing, right? you do, you're getting to this success, and then you go, oh, I'm going and going. Oh, wait, hold up, I'm on the level of being wealthy. I can't do that. I gotta stop now. And not knowing that I think I was doing it unconsciously. And this was a paradigm. This was a something that was really, really controlling me. And so when you notice those things, there are things that you can do to turn that around. You can study, which is one of the major things you can do to turn around a paradigm, because sometimes most paradigms and habits that you grew up with are misinformation by your parents, by your teachers, by whoever it was that influenced you in your growing up years. Not that they meant any harm, they didn't, because that's how they grew up. That's the information that they had, and they thought it to be true. But when you study and you realize that it's not, then there are things that you can do to turn that around. Basically, speaking to yourself differently, and noticing when those habits or paradigms are taking over, and making you do things that are destructive to your life. Here's a quote by Joel Barker that's in the book. It says, to ignore the power of paradigms to influence your judgment is to put yourself at significant risk when exploring the future. To be able to shape your future, you have to be ready and able to change your paradigms. So being ready and able also, it includes monitoring your thoughts, changing your actions, so that when it does come up, and it will keep coming. I'm not saying that a one-time action is going to change that. This has to be a constant thing, something that you do every day on a daily basis to just keep the good habits and discard the old ones. Because the more you do the opposite of what you grew up with, that's destructive. Not everything you grew up with is destructive. I'm not telling you that, but those destructive habits. Good morning, Ruby. When you change those destructive habits and replace them with a good habit that's the opposite of what you were doing, then that can permanently replace that one bad habit. But we have several because of the way we grew up or whatever it is. Sorry about that. This light is just really crazy. I don't know what the deal is with this light, but anyway, we'll deal with it. But so in the book it says culture is founded on habits. Your habits, your work practices, your attitudes, your beliefs, your expectations, and otherwise known as paradigms. If armed with paradigms, you approach and react to the world around you, interpreting what you see and experience according to your shared understanding and those culturally determined guidelines. So a paradigm, in a sense, tells you that there is a game, what the game is, and how to play it successfully. A paradigm shift is a change to a new game or a new set of rules. And when the rules change, the whole world will appear to be changing with it. So your paradigm or your habits or whatever they are shapes how you see the world. That's basically what all that is saying. I mean, in a nutshell, it really shapes how you see the world, how you see whether or not you can succeed in something. It just really shapes your life. When you change that around and you shift, then your world looks totally different. Even though it may actually be the same world, of course, to you now it looks different. You feel different. You act different. The whole outcome of your life is different because you changed or you shifted your paradigms. Any changes to an organization should be implemented simultaneously with a change in attitude of the members. So, if you're trying to change, and I'm going to use an analogy that I had to endure for like 30 years, but this was my job. So, I worked for the IRS 30 years. And I don't know, I lost count of the reorganization, the revamps, the reinventing, I started calling them the rerees because every time you turn around, you get used to doing it one way and then all of a sudden they're switching it around. And I think it was just to keep us on our toes. I don't really know what the idea behind that was, but sometimes the things that they changed, a lot of the employees didn't think they needed changing, because typically some things didn't work out quite the way they advertised. But in order to change the attitude and the minds of the employees, they would incorporate the help of the leadership, right? So when you're trying to implement a change, you want people to be on board, right? So you've got to incorporate the help or you got to get the agreement with the leaders so that the rest of the people will follow. And if the leaders are well respected, the more well respected the leaders are, the more people will follow. Awesome, right? So it's the same thing with you and your paradigms. When you change something about yourself, you have to be in total agreement with that in both mind and body and spirit. Well, I said both, but all of that, mind, body, and spirit. You have to be totally on board. So when it's the same thing with the change in an organization like the IRS, because mostly they were making changes to fit the customer base, right? The employees were like, okay, this is working. Stop it. This is working. And a lot of the changes, I'm not, bashing the IRS because, I worked there for 30 years, but there were some things that weren't great because sometimes they'd make a change and then people that weren't actually doing the actual work would make a change that affected the employees and the customers, not in a good way. And And so, but the employees who dealt directly with the customers were saying, no, don't do this. This is not good. This other thing was working perfectly. If you just leave it alone, it can continue to work perfectly. But they weren't listening to that. They were trying to make a change to make things better. And they run all these studies. I don't know who they studied with, but they were running all these studies, and it just wasn't good. And then eventually, after things were not going that well, they would go back to the old way that the employees were at all the time were saying, no, just keep it this way. And that's what happens internally with us. Sometimes we're not listening to that part of us that's saying, no, stop. This is the good way right here. Leave that old way, leave that bad way alone. Just stop it. And we're not listening to it, and we keep on doing the bad stuff. We just keep on doing the bad stuff until we finally realize that the bad stuff is not good for us. And so we have to switch over to the good stuff. So it's the analogy is a little different because you're talking about a business and you're talking about your life. But it's the same. It's the same kind of thing. You have to, when you're making a change in any situation, whether it be a organization like the IRS or your life, you have to be in total agreement. You have to be on board in order to make it work. It's unfortunate, this is in the book, it's unfortunate that most organizations in the world are not preparing their people to make a personal paradigm shift that is necessary. There are numerous individuals who lack the understanding required to adapt to the changes that are being forced upon them. There's another quote, it's by Michael Bosch. It says, people do not resist change when it is their choice. People resist being changed. There's a difference, right? So if the change you're making is your choice, it's all good because you chose to make that change. But if somebody is forcing a change upon you, this is where the resistance comes in. It's like, I don't want to do that. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to do that. And you notice it, right? If you decide to make a change in your life, it's all good. But if somebody else tries to force you to change, to be something different, to be something way out of your comfort zone, then you're resistant to that most of the time. And we all are. I know I am. Bob told me one time in one of the meetings, he said, you have a stubborn streak a mile long. I said, well, yes, I know. But, sometimes it's a good thing and sometimes it's not. Depends on what you're being stubborn about, right? Okay, so paradigms are habits, and a lot of those habits are other people's habits. And a couple of weeks ago, I think, I gave you guys a exercise to do and to really take a look at the habits you have in your life. So on a piece of paper, write down all the habits that you have. All the habits, all the things that you think you should be doing. And then take a second look at that list and just cross out all the ones that you didn't make the decision to do. That somebody else ingrained in you And you didn't really make the decision to do it. You're just doing it because somebody told you to do it. Cross those out. See how many things you have on your list after that. I bet you there won't be many. Because I would say 80% of what we do in life is because somebody told us that's what we're supposed to be doing. Most of our habits are formed that way. Because in your first years of life, I say I think it's from 1 to 5 or 1 to 7, all of our habits are from our parents mostly, or from most of the grown-ups in our lives. And because at that age, at those ages, then our brain is just like completely open. We have no really discerning ability to accept or reject because we're kids. We think our parents, made the moon, right? So, and we're taught as kids that grown-ups are right. Whether they are or not, we're taught that grown-ups are right. At least we were. Nowadays, kids, they don't pay attention to us. But when we were growing up, we were taught that if a grown-up told you to do something, you do it. Not that that was wrong, but it was it was actually wrong, but it was not intentional. Let's say it that way. The parents had no intention of teaching us the wrong thing. But it was wrong because not every grown-up was right. Everything they told us was not correct. We just thought it was because they were a grown-up. They should know. They're big people, as we used to say as kids. And so whatever those habits that you formed from baby up to like age 7, then those are really, and they were really, really ingrained into your everyday life. And those types of paradigms are really hard to switch because it's been a part of your life for so long that you're thinking, oh God, I'm wrong if I do this. I'm wrong if I go against the grain, right? So, but we have to switch that thinking, stinking thinking, as they say, just to change those paradigms and change it to something that's going to enhance our lives versus holding us back from living it. The book says the paradigms are like a program that's been installed in your brain, kind of like a computer. When you program a computer, it does exactly what you tell it to do. And we as human beings, because we've been programmed to do certain things, exactly, Susan, including holiday traditions, those types of things, whatever those habits and traditions and work practices and all those things that we do, it's just something that's been ingrained in us. We've been programmed to do things a certain way. Now, I remember, and speaking of holiday traditions, I remember when I got married and my husband's family had different traditions than we did. They would open their gifts like a day before. I'm like, how you open your gift a day before Christmas? What are you going? You're not gonna have anything to open before on Christmas Day? What do you mean? Why are you doing that? That's just wrong, But it wasn't anything wrong with it, but it's just the way they grew up. It's just the tradition that they had, their programming, right? But we had to come to an agreement to maybe switch every other Christmas. And this Christmas we'll do it, we'll open the gifts on Christmas Eve, and the next Christmas we'll do it my family's way, which was opening on Christmas Day. So it was a compromise, but both things were still a program. We were programmed to do that, and we didn't want to change it. We didn't want to change it, but we compromised and said, okay, I'll adapt to your program this Christmas, and you'll adapt to my program next Christmas. Didn't I mean, it was still a program, but our programs are typically written by people we love and respect, and so we think that they're right most of the time. And a lot of things that we were taught are pretty good, and but some things really hinder us from getting ahead or from moving forward. Um, there's also another quote, and it was in Latin, but I'm not going to try to read the Latin. Okay, I'm not good at that. I'll read the English version. Well, actually, I'll try it. I'm probably not going to pronounce the words correctly, but it's okay. It's all good. Nemo dat quod non habit. What does that mean? You cannot give what you have not got. Basically, you can't give what you don't have. The people that were writing your programs didn't have any other examples that were different than what they generationally did. So how they brought you up was how they were brought up, and so on and so forth. That's how generational things happen, is that when people grow up a certain way, they teach their kids the same thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, because they don't have a different example. So you can't give what you don't have. If their example was, we need to keep ourselves, and some people's definition of humble is like being poor. You don't have to be poor to be humble. You can be humble and also have lots of money. Humble and wealth, there's no correlation between the two. Being wealthy is only having green paper. It doesn't do anything. It's not an emotion. It's not anything but green paper. But the green paper will allow you to do certain things that you normally would not be able to do, the more of it that you have. But in some cultures, they associated having the green paper with not being humble, which is absolutely not true. So, because whatever you are now, whatever your financial situation is now, whatever habits you have, and how your personality is now, it's not going to change because you have more green paper. It's just not. Money brings out or enhances your personality. It doesn't change it unless you change. It's not the money that changes you. It's you that changes you. So that's a paradigm, right? And the book says that, the people that influence your original paradigms, they loved you, and they gave you what they believed to be true. But unfortunately, they had no idea what they were doing, because that's what they were taught about. And the biggest thing is limiting beliefs. We put limits on ourselves based on what we hear and our paradigms. Because, Bob gave an example that, when he was growing up, his grandmother used to always say, you have to be satisfied with what you got. Don't be asking for more. You have to be satisfied with what you got. And he said, it wasn't that she meant any harm, but she was wrong. You don't need to be satisfied. You need to be grateful, but you don't need to be satisfied, because being satisfied means you're just going to stay in the same place all the time. You don't want anything more, anything different. But we're human beings. We always want more and different. And I saw one time, I think I put out an ad, and it was an ad in pictures, basically, that I got my heart's desire. And in one quadrant, there was peace, basically a symbol of peace. And then there was a man and a woman for love. And then there was a house and a car and money, raining down, that kind of stuff in the picture. And somebody commented on the picture and said, your head is in the wrong place. This is not what your heart's desire should be. Because you're concentrating on things. No. They didn't get it. And so their interpretation or their paradigm was telling them that I couldn't have those things, and that it was wrong of me to even think that this was my heart's desire. Nobody gets to tell you what your heart's desire is. It's your heart's desire. That's why they say you're, my, me. And everybody has something different. Everybody has a different desire. And most of our desire for more is based on our paradigms. Some people think that they can't have more, so they will push against anybody else having more, and then they'll criticize anybody else having more. Now, I'm pretty sure if you're out there, you've probably heard somebody criticizing somebody for being wealthy. Why? They worked for it. And even if they didn't, who cares? It's theirs. They get to spend their money however they want, because it's theirs. And if you don't feel like you don't want that, then don't get it. But don't criticize somebody else because they have it. It doesn't make any sense, right? It's a paradigm. It's a limiting belief that you can't have it. And then so that creates this animosity towards somebody who does. So getting rid of that type of limiting belief will also get rid of all the gossip and the hatred and all the misconceptions that every rich person is a bad person. Because that's just something that was ingrained in your head. It's not true. It's just something that was ingrained in your head. So the book says, okay, looking back from a more educated perspective, it's obvious the focus of people who were raising you was primarily for your physical well-being. They had little or no knowledge of what was happening to you mentally. They didn't realize that they were instilling these beliefs in you that would someday hold you back from being successful. They didn't know that. They weren't aware of that. All they were trying to do was protect you and make you a good person in their eyes. From what they were taught was good or bad. So just because, and we have to also get past the blame game. It's not their fault. They taught you what they were taught. So it's up to you at this point now to change it. Say, okay, I know better now. Let me work on changing it. And it's just like an addiction, right? When you have an addiction, how hard is it to get rid of that? One of my addictions, well, I don't know if it's an addiction anymore. I have one, but I used to drink, like, this is coffee. I used to drink a pot. Now, I mean, I'll have this and that's it for the day, right? But I used to drink a pot of coffee. And whenever I didn't have my coffee, I would get headaches because I was addicted to the caffeine. Well, once I decided, well, actually, my doctor kind of decided for me. He said, okay, you just way too much caffeine here. And but once I mentally decided that, okay, I'm still going to have my coffee, I'm just not going to drink quite as much of it. And I went for, and it wasn't a long time, but I went for quite a long time drinking coffee that was plant-based. It didn't have any caffeine in it. And at first, those first few weeks, man, my head felt like it was about to come off of my shoulders. My head hurt so bad. But when I mentally adjusted, then I didn't have the headaches anymore. And when the amount of caffeine that I was consuming dissipated from my system, then I was able to go back to drinking like caffeinated coffee. But a matter of fact, right now I can only drink 1 cup of coffee a day because it makes my stomach hurt. Okay, so, and that was a mental thing for me to not consume that large amount of caffeine. So whatever your paradigms are, you can mentally shift, and you may have to do it every day. You may have to talk to yourself and say, okay, that's holding me back, so I'm not going to do that anymore. And I think I also gave you that the other exercise that Bob gives us about the writing the negative ones on one sheet of paper and write the polar opposite on the other sheet of paper, and then just burning, read them off, accept that they were a part of your life, burn them, throw them in the trash, burn it, soak it, put it down to disposal, so that you no longer see that. And that's just a mental thing. It's not anything. It's a ritual, but it's ritual in that you want something visual to help you to. God, this has been a long time I've been on here. I told you we could talk about paradigms for like days, so I'm not gonna hold you up much longer, because I'm just gonna finish this one page, and because there's like 2 or 3 pages on paradigms, so I'm not gonna go there. But yeah, I've never talked on here for that long, right? Or I did on decisions as well. I probably had 30 minutes. This has been 41 minutes, guys. Yikes. Okay, so anyway, if you have a paradigm, you can mentally shift it. You just have to change your mind about it. And it sounds simple, but it can be something that's a daily conscious decision to change. And it's going to try to come back, because that's where your body, your mind, your body, and everything was comfortable for years or months or whatever it was. And it's going to try to come back. It's like an addiction. It's going to try to come back. Like, I know a lot of people have smoked cigarettes, and then they got off the cigarettes, and then for some reason, some situation happened, and they smoked another cigarette, and then all of a sudden they were smoking even more cigarettes than they were before. That's because their paradigm came back and said, you need that cigarette. You need that cigarette to, calm your nerves, or whatever it was they were doing with it. And so the habit got worse instead of better. And that addiction then was now reinforced, and they went back to their old ways. It's the same thing with any other type of paradigm that you have that's controlling your life. But you get to control it if you change it over to something better or something that really helps you in your life versus holding you back. And this is the last thing I'm going to say because, like I said, it's been a while. I didn't even realize that I'd been talking this long. But I can talk about this a long time because, yeah, it's important. But this is the last thing I'm going to say, and I'll continue tomorrow. How about that? All right. So this is a quote by Raymond Hollywell from the book Working with the Law, and it says, "Our thoughts travel 930,000 times faster than the sound of our voice. No other force or power in the universe yet known is as great or as quick. It is a proven fact scientifically that the mind is a battery force, the greatest of any known element." So I said, your mind has the ability and the capacity to change all of those limiting beliefs and paradigms that are holding you back to something better, but you have to work on it every day. You have to work on it every day. It is not like a quick fix, just like giving up smoking or giving up pots of coffee. You have to work on it every day. And monitor your thoughts, but don't stress. I know it sounds like, oh God, this is going to be so stressful. Don't think of it that way. Think of it as, oh my God, this is going to be so interesting. This is going to be great because I get to choose which one of my habits that I keep, because all these other habits are something somebody else gave me. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you being, loving me enough to think that you were helping me. But I've discovered that this one is not for me. This is not something I want in my life, so I'm discarding it. I'm getting rid of it. Thank you very much for your time in my life. Bye-bye. And that's how your mind has to work. You have to, up here in your conscious mind. And I'm pretty sure if you've seen Bob Proctor, you've probably seen the stick man figure. It's like a big circle. If you can see that. See how at the top is your conscious mind, and then you have your subconscious mind, and then you have your body. So the body is tiny because of the body is the instrument of the mind. And this one in the middle is the subconscious mind as a baby, where everything you're told is going in there. There's no conscious mind there to accept or reject ideas. As a baby, it's all going in. It's all going in. So that's how you're programmed as a child. So in that, when we get to be grown-ups, the conscious mind has the ability to say, I don't want that, or I want that. That's where you have to start. And that's the importance of making decisions. That's where you have to start, because once you make the decision, then you can tell the subconscious mind that, okay, this is what I want. And now we're going to program ourselves to do what we want. The subconscious mind controls you if you let it, but you have the ability now as a grown-up, because you have that extra layer, so to speak, of the subconscious mind to accept or reject decisions. The conscious mind, but the subconscious mind has no ability to accept or reject. It just takes in whatever it's told. But as a grown-up, since you now have developed the conscious mind and the ability to accept or reject before it gets to the subconscious mind, then now you can change that programming that you got as a child and say, okay, I'm rejecting this. I'm rejecting taking this out. Just look at it as a bowl of something that oh, well, I don't want that part. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take that out. Okay, I'm going to leave that one. I like that one. Take it out. And look at it that way. That way it's fun, right? So, it's just like a bowl of yarn or something. I don't like that color. I'm going to take that out. Nope, 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 not that one. Oh, yeah, I'm going to put this one in. And I'm going to take that one out. And then make it a game. Life is a series of paradigms. You just have to choose which ones you want to keep and which ones you don't. All right, guys. Like I said, I've kept you a really long time this morning, but I think it was important. And there's like 4 or 5 pages of this lesson. Like I said, paradigms are important. So there's several pages left of this, and so this might actually be a few days talking about this series on paradigm. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, and I hope you really got something out of that, because I do whenever we start talking about these paradigms, and I have to really go back and subconsciously look at my own set of paradigms that I'm keeping or rejecting, and based on what I want to do or not do. Okay, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I love you. And again, my YouTube channel, y'all go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Tell your friends, subscribe, turn on the notifications, because I'm doing videos and stuff on there as well, and a compilation of these videos that I'm doing here on Facebook is going in as my then and now journey thing. So I will talk to you guys later, and have a fantastic day. I love you guys. Bye bye. All right, guys. So thank you for watching that episode. It was actually one of the videos that I do in the mornings, after my workout and everything like that. So that's why you heard all the stuff about the exercise and the yoga and all that stuff. But, the main part was talking about the paradigms and what you can do to change your paradigms and to replace the old paradigms with some really good ones that are going to be beneficial to you. So I'm glad if you enjoyed that, please go ahead and like and share the video, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Down below, there's some links to the Overnight Millionaire program, Bob Proctor's MSI program, and I'm trying to think what I put down. Actually, there's also a link to for you to take a look at an opportunity to get multiple streams of income from iBoomerang, which is the network marketing company I'm with, and it's awesome. It's fantastic. It actually kind of deals. They believe in personal development, and there's inspiration, and there's so many wonderful things about this company that I can't tell you. But anyway, take a look, see what you like, what you don't like. Knock it out. All right, guys. So thank you so much for watching. And, gratitude. I am grateful to you for visiting my channel. And thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me. And I will see you on the next video. But in the meantime, I wish you peace. I wish you love. And I love you guys so much. Thanks again for watching. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.